Welcome to Inclusive Workplaces, a series amplifying the voices of immigrant movers and shakers in the Finnish workforce. We cover inspiring stories of immigrants in Finland, uncovering strategies to break down barriers, and exploring how companies can build welcoming workplaces. All this amazing content is paving the way for a truly impactful publication that is coming soon. So get ready, because this one is going to be a game changer. But before we dive deep into that world-altering publication, let's talk action. Today's episode focuses on an incredible story on inclusive diversity hiring practices. Through our guest story, you will hear how you can be a champion for creating a more welcoming environment for your fellow international colleagues. Think of yourself as a workplace inclusion ninja, ready to unleash your inner advocate. Welcome to Inclusive Workplaces. Today with me is a norm breaker, an all-around great person, a mother, an entrepreneur, just an awesome person in general. But I want to let herself introduce herself. Welcome.
Thank you so much. So my name is Cecilia. I've been living in Finland for a number of years now. I'm around 18 years. I'm a mom of a teenager. And and an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Trying my best to see how far I can be reached.
Tell me about, Ghana. Tell me, which part of Ghana are you from?
So I'm from Accra.
Okay.
I'm a Ghan.
Mm-hmm.
A Ghan woman. Ghans are usually very strong and they have opinions. They're tough women.
Mm-hmm.
And one stereotype about Ghan women is that when they get married, they don't stay in their husband's home. They are so independent.
Well, independence is an admirable trait, right? But so you grow up in Ghana, in Accra. You're a determined person. You already start recognizing early that you want to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
How did you end up in Finland? Why Finland?
Yeah, why Finland? So there are only two things that bring you to this kind of country. I mean, Finland is a lovely place, but I think only two things will bring people here: love and education. And both brought me here.
Okay.
I fell in love.
With the person and the education?
Yeah, I fell in love. That was my first love.
Okay.
So love brought me here.
Yeah, that's great. Well, in that sense, I also moved here for love, so I can completely relate. For myself, though, I didn't know much about Finland. So, besides the fact that I had found my love, we came here for holiday. Fascinating country. But, at that time, I didn't think I was going to come and live here. So what year was this when you landed in Finland? And where did you move to initially, actually?
Actually, I was a social worker in Ghana. I was working with several NGOs. So I was representing Ghana in lots of conferences. So I've been to Tanzania, I've been to Uganda, I've been to Botswana, I've been to Kenya. So I was traveling a lot as a representative for the young girls or for Ghana. And then I had a chance to go to London through the Royal Commonwealth Association. And also I was a board member of the African Youth Alliance, which was under the UNFPA. And also partly funded by Pathfinder International. So I was in London with a couple of people. I was chosen as the rep from Ghana also. And then we had a chance to work with the LGBT group in Bristol. And then I luckily had this couple that were interested to adopt me because I wrote a poem for the Queen. The Queen was there at the event. Yeah, Queen Elizabeth, the late Queen Elizabeth. Right then and there, when I saw her, and I was like, I asked the coordinator, Myers, I will never forget his name. I said, can I write a poem for the Queen? He said, yeah, go ahead. So immediately I started writing something. And then I performed it for her. Forgetting when people were watching me and the BBC was recording it also. Then after the poetry, then there was this old couple that saw me and they were like, we like you so much. Can we adopt you? And I was like, yeah, it's cool. But I thought about the whole night. Love, adoption, love, adoption, love.
You went for the love?
I went for love.
That's great. That's absolutely great. Do you remember what was the season you moved to Finland? Was it winter? Was it summer?
Summer.
It was summer.
July.
And are we in Helsinki or where are we?
So I came to Espoo, and I've lived in Espoo all my life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Espoo is a beautiful place.
Very beautiful, very calm, away from the noise and everything. Yeah.
How did your integration process start in Espoo?
So yeah, before I came here, I made lots of research about the country, and of course, I asked my ex a lot of questions. Of course, our marriage didn't last. After 2 years, we divorced.
Okay.
So I asked a lot of questions because I'm a very curious person. I always want to know what is ahead of me and where I'm going to. So, I check about Finland. That okay, it's a country that they speak Finnish, and Finnish language is very difficult, and Africans have difficulty in finding jobs, and so many things. So I was like, okay, then I need to find a job. So I already asked him that he'd find me a job before I come. Link me up before I come. And then he spoke to one of his colleagues who was going on holidays, that I could take his place for cleaning whilst the friend was on holiday. So on my first day in Finland, I was already cleaning. Okay. Though I've never done it before in a company.
How did that feel?
Initially, it was like, it wasn't easy to take it in because all my life I've been working. I've been working already from the age of 12.
Wow.
I remember so well when I was young, I used to follow this program in Ghana called Digest.
Okay.
It was a program, Digest session, where they were making baking stuff every other Sunday. It was Digest something. And I was always watching how the woman would baking, bringing out new recipes. And I think already that time, I saw myself as an entrepreneur. Okay. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I kept looking at the whole program. Then when I was 13, I asked my late uncle, who was quite well known in Ghana. I told him that I want to start selling. So can he borrow me money?
What did you want to sell?
Pancake.
Okay.
And he asked, is your mom aware of this? You think your mom would think we are in poverty? No one is asking you to sell. I said, no, I want to sell. I want to make pancake.
Tell me about that.
It was an experience. I think I was already focused and I was determined. So I wanted to work. I wanted money because I already started earning when I was already 13 years old.
Yeah.
Like I told, I was selling pancake. So I sold that pancake. And my grandma used to own a huge shop. Our family is into a lot of businesses. We have a lot of business in my family also. So my grandma was selling goods. She had hawkers that come to pick the goods. So I was also one of the hawkers.
Okay. That's amazing.
Yeah, I was selling also. I was selling pancake after school, and then also sell the clothing. And she because I was so young, she gave me extreme discount. So within 1 hour, I finished selling and I come back home.
So you were making more money than everybody else was.
Yeah, but I wasted it also.
What did you waste it on? Okay. Candy?
Not in a negative way.
Okay.
I'm a philanthropist. I think my father is one, and my grandma was also the same.
Okay.
So even though I was a teenager, I remember I was already giving alms to women. When I say woman on the street to the child, I give alms. Yeah.
Do you have a theme for the kind of poetry you write?
So I look at things, I study them, I try to read about what will happen next, and then I write about it. So, for example, one of the poems, for example, is about a beggar. So one of the poems I wrote, I remember, is about a beggar sitting on the streets, asking for alms. And then I'm thinking about all the people that are passing by. That people are passing by watching this person, and some really have the money, but they're not giving to him because they stereotype him, they don't help him. And then he's sitting in front of a church, and then the church is taking money from people, and he's not helping the beggar. And he's there thinking with a free mind, and he's in the suffering. That kind of so many things around, and then I put it together.
It sounds complex because already you're talking about people walking past with money, but they stereotype the beggar. Now we're sitting in front of a church where we're supposed to do good and all of this. And I think even the way that you approached moving to Finland, that you would already want to be set up, is already, in a sense, kind of like a first barrier broken, right?
Yeah.
So you land first day, you're on the job.
Yeah.
You don't speak Finnish.
No.
You're in a completely Finnish environment. What does that first day feel like for you?
Well, like you said, partly my mind was already ready to integrate, and two, I didn't explore also to look for help, Like people come to Finland and people are aware that there's tea support, there is language support. I didn't know all those things. So for me, it was more about hustle and get your way through, you know? So I was hustling. And the only thing that the culture shock was how people were approaching me. So I think I used to be a different me, that I was so protective about that because I'm a patriotic African. So when, like, for example, I go into a bus and then I'm like, I want to get down here. Where is the way? And they don't look at me. Then already I approach the driver. Why not talking to me? Why are you behaving this way? Why is it people watching me? I didn't care. I was, keep talking the whole time. I took it so personal. That was my culture shock. Yeah. And I remember one time also I went to one secondhand shop and then I was looking for things, and then this cashier was walking behind me, watching me the whole time. And I went to her and I was like, why are you following me? Do you think I'm a thief? Do you know who I am? Do you know what is in my bank account? Do you know I have money than you? That was my own me. I take so that culture shock was like strong on me. Yeah. But eventually I got over it and I was like, okay, the society is not yet open, so you need to take things cool.
Yeah, I mean, Finland in general, that was also quite interesting for me because I find, Finnish, obviously, I mean, and this is now well known, Finnish society is very much about personal space, calmness, and there you are, bright, happy, energized, and determined, and you arrive in Finland and you're doing this cleaning work. Did you study Finnish while you were doing the job, or how did you get into the whole language thing, Finnish language? How did that go for you?
Unfortunately, no. I had the option to study it in my university because I also had admission the same year to study. So I asked, what's the option about this Finnish language? I was already told it's so difficult. So my mind told me not to learn it already. So we're told that we needed to learn it on the first term as compulsory. After that, we don't have to learn it anymore. So I make sure I learn to pass the exams, not learn to understand.
Okay.
So I learned to and pass the exams, and that was it.
Okay.
And I think also because I had pre-planned a lot of things already that I know what I wanted to do. So I also created my network. I started searching what I can do. So then I saw this culture center, Kaisa, and I met this man, Kitare Mayele. He's a cultural producer. And then I told him I love singing, and then I love joking. So he asked me to sing, and I sang, and he was like, wow, you sing so well. And I was like, well, this man is not serious. I just like singing. I'm not a singer. So he invited me to join this Our Vision contest for the first time, 2008. It was the first program under Kaisa.
Okay.
And I joined it. And when it was time to sing, I see people so seriously drinking water and clearing their voice. And I'm just there laughing at them. Like, what are these people doing? But when I went through, and I was among the 10 finalists.
Wow.
And we were in this theater. Finlandia.
Oh, wow.
Finlandia, I was among the 10 finalists.
You take a very proactive approach to kind of like hacking your way into the spaces that you want. And I mean, the way that you've kind of described how you pre-planned your next steps and the things that you want to do and the fallbacks just in case things work or don't work is very interesting, because for somebody moving to a society that they don't know much about, the ability to kind of have that well thought out plan is very unique, at least in my experience. And which traits do you think gives you that desire to have things kind of planned out well in advance?
I think one of the unfortunate, I don't know if I should call it fortunate or fortunate things, is that I grew too early. I became an adult too early. So I didn't really have a childhood.
Okay.
And I think, of course, I wasn't forced into it. Maybe it was meant to be. Already when I was young, I was reading a lot of books. And I was a very curious person. So I was always thinking of what someone doing. I remember my family even named me Bookworm. When they see me, they're like, oh, look at that bookworm. She's walking there. She doesn't greet no one. Yeah. I just walk straight to the room, and next thing you see, I'm reading a book. Yeah. So I think reading books actually also made me who I was, because people don't realize the impact of reading. Because reading really expands your mind. It expands your mind a lot. It makes you think a lot about your surroundings. Of course, I'm not saying those who don't read don't think. They think as well. But reading at an early age makes you a totally different person as you grow, and it makes you prepare for things ahead of time.
I think that's great. I also grew up reading a lot of books. We used to have the Ed Hardys and Nancy Drews when we were kids, and encyclopedias and all of that, So, I completely agree. That's a very good way to kind of like open up your mind to, what else is out there. Yeah. When I moved here, before I could, read Finnish, I started reading the books that I would find in Swedish about Finland and reading the Kalevala and all of these things. But, I remember how hard it was in the beginning to understand, because the subtle messages about Finland within the literature, they kind of take, I think, a little bit more time. Yeah. Even no matter how early you read the book, it takes a lot of time to digest that. I only started, for example, understanding Moomins way much later on when I moved here, even though we were watching the Moomins when we were in Zimbabwe growing up. I actually thought it was a pretty scary cartoon. You know what I'm saying? But besides all of that, I think that the way that you prepare and the way that you allow yourself to ingest information is very interesting, because I think that this idea of pre-preparation so that you can be proactive is a very important thing when you're trying to figure out your way. So here you are now, pre-prepped, you've started working, you're in theater, you're in art, you're doing all of these things. But I'd like to pick maybe a little bit more on the stereotyping. At what point in time did you write the story of the beggar? Is there something within that story that is linked to your journey in Finland?
No, that was a poem.
Yeah, the poem, sorry.
No, I wrote my poems when I was a teenager.
Okay, sorry.
12, 13, 14, 15. So those has nothing to do with when I traveled. Around that time already, I was thinking about things. When I walk around, I think about things. Even my mom, when my mom hits age 40, I started reading a lot about menopause. And I was already watching it, and I already knew what to do tomorrow. I didn't know.
Very preemptive.
So she does something, I'm like, okay, it's mom's menopause. This is not personal.
Well, in a sense, your approach to kind of like diagnosing symptoms so that you can deal with them, in a way, you had already diagnosed Finland, right? In a sense, you're like, hey, these are the things that I can't do, probably won't work, and and you're there, and you're not, as a driven person, you're not seeing the future as intangible. You know that you can do more.
Yeah.
So how do you take that next step from cleaning job to what happened next?
Okay, so, well, I was cleaning, I was doing artist stuff, I was modeling, I told you, I was singing, I was doing stage poetry, and that guitar man helped me a lot. I even performed in Finnish Parliament. They had a dinner on something related to Africa. Then he told me to come and perform, and I wrote about emancipation and slavery. And one of the poems was indirectly talking to Finland about how cold the society is. So I'm that daring.
That's a good thing.
And after graduation, I told myself that cleaning is not for me. I can't do cleaning forever. I mean, I'm so educated, and I want to be something else. And I would like to add also that already when I was a teenager, I was reading a lot of books on leadership. I have so many books. And
as a child?
Yeah.
Wow.
I had books on leadership, and some of them are in my house already. I brought them to Finland. They
still have them even?
I have them. They are old books. I show it to my son, I talk to my son often. I sit him down every week, and I tell him that when your mom was this, even though I'm not a grandma. So in a way, I already saw myself to be a leader from the time I was young. So after graduation, I started looking for jobs in daycare because, of course, I studied early years education because I already knew that's one of the easiest way of getting a job in Finland.
Okay.
Either daycare or nursing. So I have to get into it. So I started looking for a job in daycare centers, and it was hard. Nobody was replying to me. I wrote over 100 applications. Nobody replied. Then I contacted one friend of mine. Of course, I would like to acknowledge her, Tigist. And then I told her that, hey, tell your boss that you have a friend looking for a job. She's very good. You need to tell her, remember when we were in class, I was a good person now. I was so clever. So I told her, yeah, she said, oh yeah, it's Cecilia Hotel. I remember we were in the same university also.
Okay.
And I need to tell you one thing also. I got pregnant in university with my ex-husband. And I gave birth, and I brought my son back to school when he was 2 weeks old.
Wow.
And I asked I asked my teacher, Tobias, I asked him that, can I bring my baby to school? He said, so far as your baby doesn't disturb us in class, bring him.
So first day of school in university, you have your baby with you?
No first day. I got pregnant whilst in university.
Sorry. Yeah.
So my second year.
So second year, you are sitting in lectures and you have your child with you. And
2 weeks old.
That is amazing.
I had a baby in July.
Yeah.
And August we were in school. He was he was in school with me and he graduated with me.
Wow, that's amazing.
And luckily, that boy was crying like a rat. So he didn't disturb his school. You know when he's crying?
Okay.
That kind of crying. Yeah. And people, it was a toy in the school, so everyone was carrying him. So it was also easy for me. People were carrying him in here. So he was also an inspiration to me. And I needed to push on. I didn't want to just settle for less.
Yeah.
So, Tigi spoke to the boss, and then nobody called me. So then I decided to go there myself. Yeah. So I woke up one day, dressed very well, and I remember I had some suits. I had some old suits I brought from UK. I put one suit on and a skirt and a heel, and I went to the school. And then when I got there, that I saw this lady, and I said, I'm looking for the manager. And so, have you been invited for interview? I said, yes.
No one had invited
No one had invited me.
Okay.
But I needed a job. No, because I said myself that cleaning is not going to be my job forever. No. And I met her, and then she said, did I invite you? I said, yes. He said, but she doesn't remember. I said, maybe if you've written to so many applicants, that's why you don't remember me, but I applied for this job, he asked me to come. He said, okay, anyway, you have a seat, you are very busy right now, I'll get back to you. So I was sitting down, looking at the whole place, and I was already preparing my mind. What about if they ask me to teach right now? No matter in the daycare, what am I going to do? So I was already thinking what to do,
Yeah.
And then she interviewed me. She asked me that. She said there are so many people that apply for daycare jobs. So what can I do? I mean, what is different about me?
Yeah.
That was a big question. What is different about me? So in me, I was like, what is different? You're African. So I said, well, I'm an African. I can teach African dancing. I can teach African baking. I can teach African songs. I can teach African arts. And here am I, all the things I'm saying, I don't do it. But she said I should say something that is different. And I think this is one skill that HR look for when they're interviewing you. Because so many people have applied for the job. They want to say, what is unique about you?
Exactly.
What different thing I bring into the company? Yeah. Why do we need you?
What additional value?
What additional value?
Yeah.
So when I said it, she was like, oh, this is a cool idea. Then after that, she said, can you go to that classroom and help the teachers? I was like, I knew this was coming. So I went to the classroom, and that teacher was very wicked. She left the classroom for me with about 20 children.
Yeah.
I was like, Cecilia, it's time to be bold. So I introduced myself to the children. They were laughing, and I like joking also. And then after that, I said, it's better I teach them one of those old, when we were young, we had this kind of folklore songs and games. And I remembered one immediately. So I said, hey, everybody, go, let's sit round and play a Ghanaian game. And I remember one of those songs, and I played with them. They were so happy.
Wow.
And I said, let's do a dancing now. And I started some African dance with them from different tribes. And I couldn't repeat it because I don't know what I did. After that, the woman was so impressed, and she gave me a contract.
That is an amazing story. First you hack yourself into an interview, and while you're waiting for the interview, you identify a sell point. So how you're going to add value to that company. You get tested on it right away, and you deliver, and you get a contract. I think that's a beautiful story, because often what can happen is that people get comfortable with waiting for the phone to be answered, instead of being proactive and really kind of going out there and exposing yourself to these opportunities that you want to place yourself in. So here you are now, you get a contract to start working in the daycare. How long were you there?
Yeah, so in that daycare, I was given a supervisor to train me, and I was told that I'm in probation for 4 months. So she needed to train me. I need to listen to all the time. So I was listening to her, and I was watching, observing things, reading also things at home, how to teach a daycare in Finland, the curriculum, etc., even though I studied it in university. So I was like, this girl is wasting my time, So then I told the boss that I think I don't need any training anymore. It was my 2 weeks at the workplace. So I don't need the training anymore. She said, are you sure? I said, no, I don't need it. I think I'm fine. Give me a group. Who is my group? And then my manager was confused. What group? Then I had an idea. Why don't you give me all the immigrant children? So they'll be my group. And then the Finnish children are with the other teacher, because I understand immigrants better as an immigrant. And I can help them learn. So that brought value to me already. So already 2 weeks, I stopped the probation, and nobody was training me, and I was on my own.
Wow.
Then I was of course, I need to be seen, Not that you need to be seen, otherwise nobody will see you.
So you need to be remembered. You need to make your mark, right?
Yeah. You need to make sure that you make your mark there, that people see you. So I move from class to class, asking questions, of course, relevant questions. And again, one important I need to talk about, of course, is that whether we like it or not, in every country there are stereotypes. People think differently about who you are, and it's up to you to create an impression to them. Not to look down on you, not to disrespect you. It's up to you. You know what happened at that workplace? We went for lunch one day, and then once we were eating, I had my bowl in my palm, and I was eating like this, even though there was a table. Then one lady said, "Oh, Cecilia, you eat in your palm. I understand in Africa you guys sit on the floor and in a group and they eat by your hands." I didn't say nothing. I needed to finish eating because she doesn't know what was coming. So I finished eating. Then I went to the classroom and I said, "Hey, what did you say to me in the staff room?" "Oh, I know in Africa you have problems, and maybe some of you because of poverty." And I said, "Which country are you from?" He said, "Czechoslovakia." "Okay. Do you know that it's a poor country?"
Okay.
"Do you know that you're an immigrant here? Just like me." One, never disrespect me because you didn't feed me. And my eating style is my eating style. I don't get controlled because society says we should put food on the table and eat there. This is how I eat. And I didn't eat with my hands, I ate with a fork. And that was it. And she sprayed to the other teachers. So right there, and the people kind of had that kind of respect from that this girl, don't go near her. So I already made that,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very important thing to be able to drawing boundaries about how you want to be treated as a professional. You also bring up the awareness that your cultural habits are not any less valuable than anyone else's. And because you choose to stick to those, it doesn't make you any less of a professional in that sense. I think that is also very important. Yeah.
Precisely. And then whilst I was there, of course, I was telling myself that I want to be a leader. So after 3 months, to cut the story short, I became a supervisor.
Okay.
And like I said, I didn't let anyone look down on me. It won't happen. No way. I'm a qualified teacher. And there were 13 teachers there, and myself and the manager were the only ones with the qualification. The rest had assistant position, or they were not even qualified. So very tiny scenarios like, as someone will come to me like, "You see, like, can you please clean the potty? This child went to pee." I'm like, "Can you please remember that I'm a qualified kindergarten teacher? I'm not an assistant. And there are 13 teachers here, and only me and the manager are the qualified teachers. So I do not clean potty. Can you please tell another person to clean? Thank you so much." No.
Exactly.
So, whilst I was there, then I started looking for another job. Because I wanted to be a leader. Because I knew I should be a leader, So I started applying for jobs in different schools, and then it was hard. People are not replying to me as usual with what many immigrants go through. They were not replying at all. But anyway, something happened in that workplace. I'll not talk about it. A little bit racial issue, and then I resigned. So I resigned from that place after a year. Then I applied for these head teacher jobs in so many places, and one school called me, and I went there. And actually, I have to tell you one trick. In all my CVs, when I'm applying for a job, I write Cecilia NQ.
Okay.
I never wrote Quarshie. Because I was aware about the silent racism here.
Okay.
So I never used, I never write, no, I never.
Okay.
I always see like NQ.
Okay.
So you don't know who is coming. And the nationality is out. I don't put it there. Unfortunately.
Yeah. I think it's not a must.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So when I went for the interview, the man saw me. I think he was traumatized. He saw me and I was like, "What are you looking for?" I said, "I came for an interview." "What is your name?" "Cecilia." Then he stood there for a while. "Cecilia? Are you sure? Cecilia what?" "Cecilia NQ." And that day, that man made me wait for 3 hours. I think he was traumatized. He didn't expect to see an African person. So after that, he interviewed me. And then I went for 3 more interviews. I think he wanted to be sure, like, why you want to be a head teacher? And he has never had a head teacher as an African in his school before. But in any case, I had a job.
Yeah.
And then I started working, and then I'm a very honest person. My white is my white, my black is my black. I remember that man told me one day, he said, "Cecilia, you are the most honest person I've ever met in my life. Thank you so much. And ever since you came here, the teachers are more united. The teachers are more hardworking. The environment is so calm, and the children love you. So in minutes, I changed my CV. Okay, so looks like I'm a team leader, I'm very good at organizing a team. So I edited my CV. And then I started looking for jobs again. after my 11th month, I was like, I can do better. So I was writing to different companies, and I was like,
So while you're working for the one, you're applying for the one for the next step you want to take. Okay.
Of course, you need to save yourself. One fits out, one fits in. You don't just So I started looking for jobs. I wrote to so many companies, and I said that I'm a skillful person. According to my boss, he has not found them. I use his words. He said I'm the first honest person he's ever met in his life. And then because of me, the team is more organized. And actually, he also took me to a different unit to help the staff, because he said the staff were not coming to work well. The staff retention, there was a problem. So I wrote that on my CV, that because of my skills, I've been taken to a different unit. And then this company, a life-changing journey, new generation kids. They used to be the biggest private daycare owners in Finland those times. So they asked me to come for an interview. And then before I went for the interview, I made a research about them. I went on their website, and I saw it was in Finnish and Russia. Okay. And then they run English schools. So when I went for the interview, I told them that, why haven't you put it in English? I can put it in English, so you don't need to pay me. And this time, I don't speak Finnish, I don't speak Russian. I Googled everything, and I made sense out of everything. And I summarized it. And I sent it to them. After the interview, I sent it to them that I've translated your website for you.
So now you've translated the website. After the interview, what is this new chapter?
Well, I told them I'm going to bring a lot of things, and they'll get a lot of immigrants in the daycare, so they should employ me. And they employed me. And one trick also, they asked me, what is your salary? And I asked them, what do you offer? Because you don't have to don't have to say it. Otherwise, you might say too low or too high. So I said, what is the offer? And they mentioned the offer. And I said, well, my boss was paying me more than that. But if you can cushion it a little bit, I'll take the offer. But I was lying. The offer was really good. Then, of course, they gave me a very good offer. And then I took the job, and they also made me a head teacher. Then later on, I told them that, hey, I heard that you guys like to expand. You're always opening daycares. I'm also good at that. I can help you expand. So why don't you put me in your planning team? And then the owners, they put me in the planning team, and we together started to open a new unit. But before then, now let me not skip this. They told me that since they've never worked with me before, they would like to test me in one of their daycares that they're about to shut down. Sorry,
Okay.
It used to be called Aperusu. They are going to shut it down, but they want to test me. So I should go there for the last 3 months of that daycare. Then after that, they'll take me to a different unit. So I went there, and I saw that there were about 6 kids. Most of the parents have left. They were angry parents. And I told myself that, no, I'm not going to shut this daycare down. I think I need to keep this daycare. So I started thinking which ways. So I came there one weekend, cleaned the entire daycare, rearranged the whole place, which is also another skill that I have. I like arranging things all the time. I rearranged everything in the daycare. I brought new schedules. I brought new activities. We have African fashion show. I carried that thing with me. Baking, dancing, poetry club, singing club, drama club. So then I told my boss that, can you give me a chance? I think we can build this daycare. She said, Cecilia, we're going to shut it down because we have a problem in that unit. I said, but we can bring it back. So I told the boss that, can you trust me? Can you meet me one Saturday? Let's all go out and share whatever. So they actually listened to me. So we distributed leaflets around for the daycare. And guess what? In 2 years, that daycare was about 32 children.
Wow.
And I became the manager there.
Wow. And is that where you start seeing, or you start actively pushing for diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workplace? Because you mentioned earlier that there was another issue that wasn't as comfortable, as good. How do you see this early childhood education in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion? And what was your drive going forward in terms of trying to make those things, make that environment aware of inclusion and diversity?
Talking of that topic, if you should go back, I think throughout my career in education, I had been the voice of many immigrant children. Because it started right from there. Because most of the educators don't realize that they even stereotype and discriminate these children. They don't even realize it. And most times, for example, I know many immigrants families are going through this, where they tell the immigrant families that your child has ADHD, your child has delay in speech, your child has this and that. It happens to over 90% of immigrant families in this country. And most times I have to defend the children. I tell them that no, it's because of a culture issue. Africans reality. We're already hyper people. We are active people. Doesn't mean ADHD. Our blood is hot. So I had to save a lot of children from being taken into these special services. I did that. And my master's program, my master's thesis was on a topic like this, restructuring the Finnish curriculum to suit the needs of immigrant children.
Wow. I would love to read that one day. I think that is a very interesting topic, because these are things that have been researched in other places before. Yeah. And I think that the fact that you already kind of like saw that and you wanted to do something about it probably really informed the direction that you went after that, right? Yeah. So you start running this daycare and you bring it back to life. These children coming, because I know you're not satisfied.
Yeah.
So tell me what happens next. You're not satisfied with just running a daycare. What happens?
You know what? I always tell people that company I work for, the owners were smart. They were smart people. They are from a country, I don't think I want to mention it. But they were smart people. And those people also took advantage of the situation. They realized that this is the lady we can use, so we have to use each other. So then I then asked them to make a project coordinator now in change. So I had manager teacher. I was a manager of the unit, and at the same time I was also a preschool teacher. Because I told them I want to be a preschool teacher. And at the same time, I told them to make a project coordinator because I'll help them open units. So then we had to do a different contract. So my contract looked funny. So, I had to get more money. So I always make sure I bargain very well so they don't overuse me. And then we opened 3 other daycares. And then later they told me, Cecilia, we can see that you have a lot of skills. You are very good at organizing people. You always bring this kind of team cooperation. And you are so good at hiring people. So we have lots of daycares. Why don't you go and train our other managers? What do you think? And on project basis, I said, no, I need a contract for that. So then I got a contract of a coordinator. So I coordinated 6 daycares.
Okay.
For them in Helsinki, Lappeenranta, Porvoo.
Wow.
But then I think around that time I realized that I was doing too much.
Okay.
I got burnout.
Okay.
Because one human being managing 6 daycares, it was way too much for me.
On that subject, I think that's very, very also something to be aware of as a community, because often there's a lot of gig work going on, and people are trying to get to their targets, and it's very easy to overwork ourselves because often we are also taking care of people that are not in Finland, and mental health of migrants and migrants of African background, I think is also something that we should also take into consideration as we think about our careers, as we think about the impact that we're trying to make. We should definitely be aware of that. So I'm glad that you brought that up. How did you deal with that, and how did you then move forward?
So the wake-up call. On Mother's Day, my son drew a card for me. And I'll never forget this. He drew me sitting in front of a laptop. And he wrote in Finnish, "Mom loves laptop."
Wow.
Even though I had time for him, I was giving him everything, I was buying him everything, but Mom loves laptop? That's not my boyfriend. Hell no.
How did that make you feel?
I felt very bad. So then I told my boss I need to resign from this position, but I'll still be a manager. So then I resigned from that position. Then I became a manager, and then it was cool. Then while I was working, I was like, hey, I think there is more I can do. Managing 6 daycare is different from doing something more. So then I was like, maybe I should be a director for a school or something, a bigger school with, lots of units. Then I found this company. And then I saw that they had put a vacancy in looking for a director for a school in Lauttasaari, one of the rich communities in Finland. So I sent the application. It was in Finnish. And for the first time, I have to say the truth, I had to deceive them. I wrote it in Finnish by using Google. And then they replied in Finnish, and I replied in Finnish using Google again. Then I went for the interview. They called me for the interview. No, before then, sorry, I skipped one thing. From that place, I applied for the job of a manager in Kaivopuisto, near where the embassies There was a private school there with lots of diplomat family children there, and I had no clue even it was even for diplomat families. I had no clue. I applied for the job and I went for 6 interviews. I heard it was tough because there were so many competitors, like high-skilled competitors. I actually didn't know it was a school for celebrity children. I had no clue. I just applied for the job.
Yeah.
And I got a job. They asked what can I do? It was a Montessori school, and I blah blah blah. I made my blah blah blah, and I got a job.
Yeah.
And guess what? When I got a job, there was a day I was sitting with my ex-fiancé and I was watching TV. Then I saw this actor, a Finnish actor, and I was like, hey, I know this man. And my ex was like, who is he? He's in my daycare. He brings his child to school all the time, and I'm always criticizing him. Who is he? And my ex said, I would like to see him. I said, who is he? He said, he's a celebrity. I said, really? Then he went to work with me the next day, and he greeted the man. Then I was like, I check his name. I don't want to say his name. Then I saw, oh, he's an actor. I said, well-known actor. Then I asked the staff, hey, do you have lots of celebrity parents in this school?
You didn't even know none of them. Yeah.
And that school, actually, they said they had never had a manager before. So I was their first manager in 25 years. I was their first manager.
Wow.
They had always had a head teacher. So that was also very good for me. So I used that description to start looking for new jobs.
Okay.
That I'm the first manager in this school, and that they have never had a manager in 25 years. And you know where the school is located. It's very good, a place where you have lots of diplomats and celebrities, whatever. And then I went for the interview. So I went for the interview for this director job. And when I went, they asked me the same questions like they always ask. What can you do? I mean, it's a challenging. The first asked questions in Finnish. The first one, they were Mitakulu. I said, Kake Heaven. Then they said in Finnish again, introduce yourself. And then I started, my name is Cecilia, and then the rest English. Then they got shocked. Then I said everything. I was like, do you have any question for me? I think I've said basically the basic things, but I don't say too much. You should ask me questions that you think you need answers to. So what do you want me to answer? Then they were like, okay. Now I realized that I don't speak Finnish. How can you manage this job? I said, well, it's clear on my CV. That's why you called me for the interview. It's not only because of the language. I think you saw something else on my CV. That's why you called me.
Yeah.
Then they cannot tell me to get out. Then they said, okay, well, the workplace is a very challenging place. We have to tell you. We've had managers not really stayed in that place. We had about 4 managers leave in 1 year. Is it a place that you can handle? Because it's a very tough place and you don't speak Finnish. So what can you do? And I said, well, that is why I'm here. I'm the person that you need. And no manager is going to quit anymore because I will be staying. They look at each other. They were like, we have some challenges. We don't know whether you can handle it, some confidential things. And then they said about it. I said, don't worry. I'll be the person to handle it. It is solved. Then they asked me
confidence.
Confidence. Then they asked me, and apart from the confidence, I'll tell you something. I checked the location. It's in Lapasari, right?
Yeah.
And there are lots of well-to-do families there.
Yeah.
So I had to dress to suit it.
Yeah. Of course, you need to show up.
Exactly. That's also one thing that we need to consider when we go for interviews. So I wore a very great outfit. No necessary makeups, no. And a white shoe, very clean. I had not worn that shoe before. And I had my bag. So once I got to the entrance and I greeted the woman, and I said, where do I put my jacket, please? Because I needed to show that I'm bored for the job. You know, so I already planned in my mind that once I enter, I'll ask her where I should put my jacket. So when she showed me, then I was like, shall I wait for you here or follow you? So I was doing the questioning. Because you need to prove already that you are bold, that they don't control you. You know what you want. So that's what I want at there. So now at the interview, then the last question they asked me, so what is your aspiration? What do you want to be in future? I want to be the CEO of this company.
I'm pretty sure everybody was looking at you like, whoa, what's going on? She's trying to take our jobs.
Then they laughed. And they were like, wow.
But you were serious.
Yeah, I was serious. And I didn't even plan the answer. I don't know where the answer came from. I think I'm just natural.
You were manifesting destiny. I think that's a beautiful thing.
Then they were like, okay, great. Then they asked me then they asked me, we finished the interview, then I left. So I was about 10 minutes walk away. Then they called me, Cecilia, are you far away? I said, no, what is it? The CEO is here, she wants to see you. I was like, whoa. So I walked back. And then they said, the CEO is in the conference room, can you go there? Then I went there. And she said, I wanted to see you because I hear an interesting lady wants to take my position. Is that true? And I said, well, yes, it's true. So what do you want me to do? I said, I think you'll find another job because you can't take this job forever. So I think I'll be the next CEO of this company. Then she laughed. She said, I like you already. You can go. That was all.
That's excellent.
And then when I go home in the evening, they send me a contract.
Wow.
And they asked
Same
me,
day.
Yeah, they asked me, are you comfortable with the salary? And I look at it. I was like, why should I say I'm comfortable? I was like, anyway, I think it's good.
It's all right. It's all right.
But it was more than what I was getting, you know.
Yeah.
You don't have to sound like, you don't have to sound like you are too comfortable. Sometimes you need to show that attitude.
Yeah.
So I hope they're not listening to this.
No, but even if they are, I think that just even the fact that they opened up the space for you, despite all of the things that would normally be considered maybe unusual for an interview situation, says a lot about that company in recognizing your talent, your skills, your experience, and your professionalism. Yeah. Because it's not a confrontational situation. You managed to sell yourself to a company that needed somebody who can come and solve problems, and that's great. And now you're almost at the peak of this space, right? You're in the daycare space. You're running units. You want now to be CEO. What's the next step? What happened there?
Yeah, so one of the skills I have is that I'm also a radical changer. I'm a transformational leader. Wherever I go, they need to see that I've appeared. So when I went there, of course, I saw challenges. I observed the whole environment. And I also had someone to train me. And after a week, I told the boss that I don't need this one to train me anymore. Because in my mind, she was managing before I came, okay, for 3 months. So why are you training me if you are not staying in that unit? That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
You can't train me.
Yeah.
Because if I'm there to solve the problem, why are you training me? That's what was going on in my mind. So yeah, there's a distraction.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, also the company probably saves on time, right? Not needing to have two people doing the same thing constantly.
Yeah, they save money.
Yeah.
So I wrote to the CEO and my boss that, hey, I like that this person is training me, but I think I don't need it. I think I'm fine, and she's distracting me because I have my own way of doing things. So can you let us stop coming here? But if I need help, I'll always consult her.
Exactly.
So I started doing my own thing, and then I just analyzed the whole place. I saw what the problem was. And then like I said, radical changer. There were so many changes. And I'm so happy to say that one man, of course, I think he has put it publicly on my social media, so I can mention his name. Osi, he sent me email after 1 month of my work. Cecilia, congratulations for what you have done for this company. You have been noticed.
That's very impactful and powerful, especially in a community that often doesn't give feedback or want to talk and stuff. So I think that's very important because the recognition of good work should be made known rather than maybe in the back there sitting and So that's beautiful. That's lovely.
I screenshot it. I still have it. It's like my CV.
Yeah.
He said you have been
noticed. That meant a lot.
Yeah, it meant a lot to me. He said you have been noticed.
Yeah.
And we have appreciated the work. So for him to write, because we're about 190 managers in that company, directors, the whole of Finland. And I was the only African. So for him to say you have been noticed, it meant a lot to me. It's very valuable. I've kept that message. If you listen, I kept that message. I screenshot it. So of course, it boosted me to do a lot. And 2.5 years, I was still the same manager. I didn't resign. And a lot changed in the school.
That's beautiful. So now you're there, 2.5 years later. You're running this beautiful business. You're getting all of the recognition. Things are going good. What happened? How did you then decide, no, I want to be an entrepreneur now?
Okay, if you say things are going good, I might get robbers after me. Anyway, so yeah, when the corona issue happened, of course, many companies went through crisis, including that company I was working for, and unfortunately, they had to close down by 80 schools.
Wow!
So the first closing in 2020, I already knew my school was packed. I was like, oh, you are the African here, so for definitely you are going home. So I already told myself that you are the only African here, so definitely your school is going to shut down, you are going home. So I started preparing, looking for jobs. And then they sent the announcements of the schools that they were closing down. And my school was in part. Then I sent my boss an email. Are you sure? Did you see my school name? Then they were like, Celia, it's okay. Your school is so closing.
Yeah.
Then I was like, wow, I must be doing something.
Yeah.
Then the second phase of, unfortunately, they had to close down my unit. And then before they closed it, in fact, they were that nice that I wrote to the CEO and I told her that I think I want to take the school. Is it okay to have the school? He said, yes, Cecilia, you have created a great impact in this school and it is sad for us to close the school. So you can keep the school and keep everything on condition you keep the staff.
Oh, wow.
So I will acknowledge that woman. Sorry, she wanted me to keep the school. But unfortunately, the bank didn't rent the building to me because I am alone. They said that, well, we deal with bigger corporations and we cannot rent to an individual, especially when I've not run a company before. So they didn't give me the building. So unfortunately.
That's unfortunate. And I think that a challenge for a lot of entrepreneurs is how do you get the security that you need to get the guarantees for you to start your business? I think that is an even bigger discussion that maybe we should like pick on into the in another episode. But you didn't let that stop you, did you?
Yeah. So then I had to look for jobs. So I started looking for jobs again. And this time, in fact, I think I already knew that I've hit a wall. That getting to the position of a director, I knew that people have problems hiring me. It was ringing at the back of my mind that people have problems. So I wrote to companies. I was like, I'm looking for assistant manager job. And I get one school wrote to me, sorry, Cecilia. Oh my God, that school. I wouldn't want to mention the company name. They said, we are happy you wrote to us, but we are not looking for experts. And I wrote back, did you see that I wrote, I'm looking for assistant manager job? They said, we are sorry, I'm not looking for experts. Please try again. And I'm like, okay, I said it. I've hit a wall. And I wrote to more places and I went for interview and they said, well, you are overqualified, you are expensive, you are too educated. And that was where I broke down. I couldn't believe. I was like, wow. So now I'm in the position of every other immigrant starting life all over again, looking for jobs. Then I had one interview also in one school I went to, and that woman was very honest with me. She told me that, you know what, I became a manager in this school just 2 months ago. And looking at your experience, I need to pay you more than myself, and I can't do it.
Wow.
She was very honest, and I'm blessed her for that. And she said that I can hire you, but on 6 months contract, temporary, because I don't know if you might want to take over my job, if you are able to work as a normal teacher. So, and the salary she offered me was good. And I went home and I sent an email. Thank you so much for everything, but point number one, you don't trust me. That's why you gave me 6 months contract. 2, I think you respected my qualification and my experience. That's why you said that you want to make me a teacher. And then 3, you're already worried they can't not even pay me enough. I think you've degraded me. I'm not going to take this. But I like that you are honest, but I'm not taking a job. It was a hard thing that I did. It was, I don't want to say stupid thing, but it was really hard. And I rejected it.
I mean, it's always good to know your value because sometimes, you know, if you're trying to build a career to a certain level, sometimes maybe you felt like that would be going backwards. Standing your ground and deciding that you want to continue forward I think is something that is important also in any career. So yeah. I think that was a strong decision to make.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for making me feel good.
No, it's the truth, right?
Yeah. So then after that, I was like, maybe it's time to start my own company. So I had to go to school again, learn about entrepreneurship, even though I know that I've practically done entrepreneurship before in my life when I was young. And then I finished the course, and then I was so ambitious. Then when I registered the company, everything, I didn't know the system again. That if you want to start a business in Finland, you need to take your time, because you get to start Raha. I was in a hurry. So I thought, I'm so ambitious, So I used all my savings to rent a place. And then I paid the whole year rent, and I wrote to the office, hey, I paid the whole year rent, and I bought everything for the premises, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't get the support. I didn't get a single support, and I was so frustrated. But again, sometimes you should be happy that these things happen to you, And then I started my own company. I started running a children's club in Lautasari. Yeah. So this is me busy with children, holding hands in the rain, in the snow, dancing with them. I didn't have, it was hard. Yeah. Sometimes we're outside for 3 hours in the cold.
but those are the things that you go through as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It's the challenges, and it's the growth that you experience through those challenges that makes you an even more determined and, invested in your business, right?
Yeah. It was frustrating, but then I told myself, so after, it's also very good about evaluating your life and evaluating your business. After about a year, I told myself that this looks like this thing is not growing. It's not for me. Because I can't be a children's club instructor before. It's not growing. The idea was so fantastic, but it wasn't growing. One, because of language also. I don't speak Finnish, and then some of the parents will have loved I speak Finnish. So then I gave it up. I just gave up the place, and I said, okay, maybe I should start something else. So I started doing other services that I'll consult for schools abroad. So I consulted for one school in Zambia, and she had about 14 schools when she was communicating with me, currently just about 186 children. Then I started consulting also for a college in Gambia. They are doing so well right now. They've been recognized a lot in Gambia because of Finland and my company. And then eventually, I decided also to start an online school.
Okay.
This year.
So you are exporting Finnish education?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because who pay for education in Finland? Everything is free here. So my clients will be abroad. Maybe in future I'll get more clients here. So apart from the other services that I'm doing under my company, I started this online education. So I wrote the curriculum, I wrote the lessons, and I sent it out for accreditation in the UK. Oh my God, another frustrating journey. The whole of Christmas, I wasn't really sleeping. I was editing lessons upon lessons, and this is me. I've never been a lecturer before. Writing lessons for professionals, because CPD programs are for professionals. And then, the first accreditation company made me frustrated. Every single mistake. The UK people, they think they know English too much. It was hard. Gradually, the courses are accredited, and we've graduated a lot of professionals so far, and we are having I'm having my official launching in August.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is a beautiful culmination of a very long journey of lessons, of experiences, of wisdom gained, of conquering challenges. And I think that our audience listening right now will definitely have a lot to think about from this conversation, because I think, honestly, I want to congratulate you. And honestly, I am humbled to be in your presence, because the things that you have gone through and the way that you have succeeded in your journey, I think it's absolutely beautiful. So congratulations. And thank you so much for spending time here on this Think Africa podcast. And I must say, I hope that the community also finds their way to your books about your poetry. I'm definitely going to be looking for them. So thank you very much for this conversation.
Thank you too. And you can find my books on Google, Mysteries of a Virgin's Agony. Hope I'm not advertising my books. There's 3 parts of it that you can read on Google Reads.
Okay.
And then the other one is on... No, I don't remember my own book. But once you find the first book, you can find the second book in there on Google. The Mysteries of a Virgin's Agony.
Okay. The Mysteries of a Virgin's Agony.
Yeah, and there are a lot of love stories put into poetry.
Wow.
Yeah, and Google Reads have part of it that are free. But thank you also so much for this interview. And please, let's have a part 2.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.